So my name is Tony Gonzalez, and today we are talking to Yaz Nomura, the bass player from whom God Destroy, and we are going to talk about the first CD of the band called Insanium. But I would like, and maybe you would like to know a little more about Yaz Nomura. Hello, Yaz, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. It's
That's
Ohio for you and Konnichiwa for me.
okay. Cool. Cool.
Yes, when you were living in Japan, you
Uh-huh.
had your own band called the Yas Nomura Band.
Well, yeah, I did couple gigs like more fusion style. I was playing guitar, but yeah. Well, guitar is still my main instrument, so yeah. But it's not like I just named it that way just because it's not like a steady band. Because I'm gonna do some shows in Japan, but I'm gonna hire different musicians this time. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I have
perfect.
a I have another band over here though in the States.
Good.
Mhm.
So, no plans for coming back to Japan in this moment.
Actually, I am going back in like a few weeks. Be on tour with this artist named Hyde. He's very famous in Japan. Uh, yeah, his band is one of the biggest in Japan. Then I'm playing for his solo project. So yeah, I'll be there for a while. But yeah, I'm going back next month.
Yes. And yes, were you
Yeah.
in this album because Dino works previously with you in the Resonance project and introduced to the rest of the musician?
Actually, no. So well, initially Derek messaged me on Instagram first. Then it was like you know it took a while, but he messaged me like talking about like oh so like if you would you ever play bass in a band if the music fits your style you like the music if you like the music and you know fits your style and like so I said yes of course right then I didn't hear anything from him for a while and half a year later he was like oh like I want to introduce you sorry I want to invite you to my studio to show these demos of the songs. So I went there, and it's like super close to my place. Uh, yeah, and he showed me 3 tracks, including "The Name of War," and I really liked it. Uh, yeah, then Derek told me to record bass on those songs as like an audition, and yeah, then I did that, and yeah, then you know everything worked out. Then Dino, I actually asked a friend, a good friend, if he knew any good singers, and Dino's name came up. So I hit him up. Then, so I didn't know he was gonna be the singer actually, and I think Dino knew that Derek was talking to me and stuff. Uh, but yeah, then I actually gave award to Derek, like, oh, there's a singer, and he might be the guy, right? Do you know? And he was like, oh, we know everything about him. so so it's a funny story. Yeah. So yeah, that was nothing to do with this project. The collaboration with Dino and the Resonance project. So yeah, I found that out later on. So it's great. I love Dino. So it's great to have a band. Great to be in a band together with him.
I think that is logical that you like the music of the band, but I know that you are more inspired in jazz players. So, did you play jazz in Japan previously? What did you learn from jazz bass players?
So so I moved to LA when I was like 19. I'm 31 right now, by the way. Uh, so I was into more to like fusion stuff back in Japan, like, when I was a teenager already. But I wasn't. It's hard, right? Fusion is like you need to know how you need to know a lot of stuff. You can't just by play. You can just play by ear. You need to know some theory and like different scales and stuff. So I was working on it, but I was never good. Then I moved to LA. Then I studied with Alan Hines, guitar player, or Scott Henderson. Uh, those guys are like fusion jazz players, especially Scott. He's really, he really like knows how to play jazz in a like interesting way. He definitely like has a lot of blues influence. He has like like blues rock. He loves Stevie Ray, right? But he kind of puts together with the jazz influence. But anyway, yeah, he showed me a lot, and Alan did too. Then I really got into jazz and fusion. So almost for the whole time I studied at MI for like a little less than 2 years, uh, I was mostly playing jazz and fusion. So that's how I kind of got better at it. Of course, I was playing some prog stuff to prog metal, uh, but mainly jazz and fusion were my focus. Yeah, then yeah. So that's how I learned jazz fusion. And yeah, I'm glad I did because like I said earlier, you need to know a lot. You need to have a lot of knowledge to play fusion and jazz because there's a lot of key changes. Chord tones you gotta outline, um, and it just definitely helps your lines. You know, lines meaning like licks or whatever, like because you know a lot. You're not just playing harmonic minor, right? I mean, I use some songs, yeah, of course I use just harmonic minor, obviously, but it's just that's just one color to me, right? Some guys would just play that and minor pentatonic, but there's way more than that in music. I mean, I love Ingwe. I'm not talking trying to. I'm not trying to talk shit. I love Ingwe, but that's just one color. There's a lot more, right? And you might want to use key changes, right? Or like different keys in one corporation, right? There's a lot of what would you call that? Like modal interchange. Um, so it's just like easier for me to see that because I can just improvise because I know it, right? It might be tough for some people who were not influenced in jazz or fusion, right? For those people, it might be harder to see, harder to hear the changes. Uh, so I'm glad it's definitely helped me a lot. And you were talking about bass players. Yeah, I mean fusion bass players are the best. I don't necessarily like jazz bass players. I mean I respect them, but what they do is like upright bass walking. They're amazing, but like I was more into the fusion guys, like Gary Willis from Tribal Tech. His touch is just insane, and Jacko is obviously a legend, and Hadrian Farrell is out of the world. It's insane. Then there's a lot more. Jimmy Johnson, those guys. Yeah.
The first you mentioned was Scott Henderson. Scott Henderson is going to play this week here in Madrid. Do you recommend me going to watch the concert?
Yeah. I'm good friends with the bass player, Romain. He's amazing too. I love the drummer too. Very musical. Yeah, those guys are super underrated. They should be more famous, because they're so good. And obviously Scott is still killing. So I do recommend. Yeah.
Yes, I will go. And when I saw that Ron Bumblefoot told introduce you on Instagram and say that you play guitar and bass. According to you, what are the main differences when you play a guitar or a bass?
Main difference. Well, so guitar is right in your face, right? When you listen to it, you hear guitar. And guitar solos, you have this moment of like taking over, right? So I love that, obviously, bass is more about like the whole band, because sometimes I play, this is something I love about bass, but when you're playing with a band, you kind of lose the sense of yourself. It's more like you're playing the whole band kind of thing, because I mean bass and drums are the most like important thing when it comes to band, I think. I mean, besides the singer, but as a band, like those are the most important parts, right? And bass, drums is just rhythm, but bass is actually taking the whole harmony, the bass of the whole, well, it's called bass, but it's just like the foundation of the music or the band or the harmony, right? So you might not be able to like be like a in the center of the band. Doesn't look like, but yeah, it's like you're just holding it down, the music. It's like you're serving the music more than guitar. I can't say guitar is not serving, but like what I mean. Guitar, you have just some moments that you can really shine, which I love, like especially playing metal shows and you're just like doing it and people are like going nuts. It's awesome because bass players don't get that most of the time, unless you're Billy Sheen.
Yes.
He can shred, So, but most of the time Billy Sheen is playing bass, right? Bass parts, and it sounds great. But when he gets the solo, he can do that. But not most of the guys. I mean, John Mayang too. So there's a bass solo. But what he does in general is playing the bass and some unison. Right. Those unison lines are crazy though. So yeah, that's a difference. Bass is more in the back, like really, sending the yeah, I don't know what's the word. Just holding it down. It's like it's more about the whole band than yourself, kind of thing. I don't want to say guitarists are playing for themselves, but bass players tend to be more bass players are more tend to be more like in the back kind of whole holding everything together. So that's the main difference, I guess.
Yes. So tell me, have you had the opportunity to play on stage with Ron Bumblefoot Tall or not yet?
Nah, we've never actually played together yet. We played at a music video shoot, but we didn't have sound, so I don't consider that playing together. But yeah,
Yes.
I can't wait. Yeah, he's such a great guy too. Of course,
Yes.
an insane guitar player.
Did you rehearse with the band or not yet?
No, we
No?
haven't done anything. Yeah, we
Uh,
just like recorded everything separately. So yeah, I haven't played with any of them actually.
I ask you because I saw in your Instagram that you have a picture where you share a stage with FT Bay.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yes.
you really
Tell
looked
me,
in.
how was the experience?
It was great. I mean, I think I got nervous, and I don't think I played good, but you know, like seeing Steve Vai live is some experience. You know, like he can really take it over. You know, with the squeal and stuff, it's crazy. So yeah, it was great. You know, it definitely inspired me.
Yes. And you told me that it was Derek who called you
Mhm.
to invite you to get in the band. And I know that maybe not, but I imagine that you are a Dream Theater fan. When Derek Sherinian invited you for the band, how did you receive this opportunity?
Like how did I feel like about this? Well, of course, I feel honored. I felt honored. Yeah, it's crazy because I'm a huge fan of Dream Theater, and also I love Planet X.
Mhm.
You know, I the the album Quantum is like one of my favorite programs albums. Uh, yeah, so it was crazy. I mean, honestly, it was kind of up in the air for a while
Mm.
because I went to his studio in 2022. Uh, oh no, actually, 2021 in fall because I looked up the message. I just wanted to figure out the timeline. Then I didn't hear anything for like I don't know how long, for like almost like a year. So I thought it was not gonna happen. Like it's always like that in music. Like you get a call, and a lot of times it doesn't happen. So I'm kind of used to it, right? And so I thought, oh, this again, but it's okay. At least I get a call. But then it's happening, so I'm like really glad it's actually happening. But yeah, I'm definitely honored to be in a band with Derek and Ron and everybody, Dino and Bruno. Yeah.
And have you any other parallel project in this moment?
Well, yeah, the resonance. Well, we're kind of on the break, but yeah, and yeah, I'm thinking about making a solo album soon, but more guitar oriented. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So not really. And I'm playing for this singer in Japan.
Mm.
But that's more like I'm basically hired, so it's not my project. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's pretty much it.
And tell me, when you get in the band, did they give you the opportunity to offer your own ideas, or all the bass line were already written when you get in the band?
Well, some of them were. Yeah, of course they programmed some bass. But mostly I just did my thing. even though some parts I really liked in MIDI bass, so I kind of like took it, used it, or like maybe like I don't remember exactly, but used it or arranged the line that they programmed, but or unison, right? So unison parts, and sometimes I might harmonize, you know. So yeah, it was actually they let me do what I wanted to do, basically, like what I wanted to hear, and yeah, they were happy about it. Yeah, I didn't really have to fix anything, so it was great.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Jazz, do you usually play Taikan guitars?
Mm-hmm.
What is your relationship with Taikan guitars?
Oh, so we started together at my uh yeah, and he was in GIT first.
Mhm.
Then he started going to the guitar craft, uh, and then yeah, and we were always talking online. Because he had to move back after that. We were talking. Then Tay started coming to Nam show, so it kind of became an annual thing that we hang out every year, right? So then yeah, we at some point he just like got me a guitar. Well, let me borrow one, and I got one here too. You know. So yeah, that's yeah. We were just like schoolmates, mates, I guess.
What kind of instrument do you prefer?
Oh, like different players. Well, I love bass players, guitar players, but I think my favorite is piano players right now.
Hmm.
I've been practicing piano too. I have an upright piano here. Yeah, I've been actually like kind of like I don't know if I should say this, but I'm been like getting lessons from Jordan Rudess
Mhm.
because he's been playing guitar, so we were just like showing stuff each other. It's great. I really want to get good at piano or keyboard. Also, I went to see this guy named Tigran Hamasyan. I don't know if you heard. This guy is insane. I went to see his show on Saturday, two days ago. That was one of the best. Yeah, yeah. If you haven't heard his stuff, I highly recommend to check him out. I'll send you. I type it because his name is kind of weird. He's Armenian too,
Hmm.
like Derek. But yeah, I sent it in the chat. Yeah. So yeah, I really love piano players, keyboard
Yes.
players. I don't know. They're just the best. You can get 10 notes or
Yes.
more. Depends depending on the voicing. It's just I don't know. You can do so much. Piano is the best writing tool for sure. That's why I wanted to learn it too. Um, I always liked classical piano too, and jazz piano. Obviously, I love like Misha Petrucciani or Bill Evans, um, Brad Meldo, Keith Jarrett. Those guys. Those guys are the masters. So yeah, especially Brad Meldo. I'm like Brad Meldo and Tigran are my like biggest heroes at the moment.
So just in this recording, when you play the bass, did you play the bass with a clear sound, or you use distortion or any other?
I, I use distortion, but I had the dry signal too. So I sent the dry signal to Ron too. I think so. I think he reamped the bass. Uh, But you know, he definitely made it similar to my tone I had from the plugin. You know, I sent the original tone that I was recording on too. So he kind of matched, but made it better, made it even better. So, yeah,
Yes.
both very modern way to record.
Yes. Tell me, do you have or what is your favorite song from the album and why?
My favorite would probably Find My Way Back. Such a great melody, I think. It's like a very 80s influence. So I don't know if we would resonate with people, younger people, but you know, I'm a big 80s fan, and yeah, that song somehow it's just like it's such a good song. You know, yeah, that's probably my favorite. Other songs sick too, but In the Name was great. Um, Crawl's great. Hypernova is crazy.
Yes, but in the name of war is an extraordinary song. Yes, and
Yeah.
for example, I read that now I'm going to tell you this. Maybe you don't get the same idea, but I read that some critics say that in this song, in the name of war, there is a clear inspiration to the song Overture 1928 from
Uh,
Theater. Yes, but
so the funny thing is like, so I know how to play Overture 1928 because I've been playing that song forever. I never like I don't play it anymore, but I remember it still, and I teach my students too because that song is relatively easy for Dream Theater songs. Uh, but anyway, I didn't notice that, and after you know it was released, in we have a group chat, right? Whom Goes Destroy, right? All five of us are in it. And Derek was like, oh, sorry, Ron was like, oh, why didn't you guys tell me? Like, I had no clue. So it's not like he didn't do it on purpose. It's like a Lydium scale thing that, you know, it's funny. I didn't notice. But then you know, he said that. So I listened to it like, oh, true. It is overture. But it wasn't on purpose though. So it was a funny how like yeah, it just happened accidentally.
so, okay, just this was our questions. If you want to say something to promote the CD or do you have plan for touring, please tell me.
uh well, no plans for touring yet, hopefully next year because we're already we're already starting to write for the second album, supposed to be next month. Yeah, I wrote like one track. Oh, I don't know if we're gonna use it, but you know, like I've been writing on my own too, so I can show the songs to them. So hopefully next year. And yeah, this album sounds, I think it sounds great. So you guys should check it out. And the bass, Ron mixed it, but he did a great job. Bass is loud. So yeah, I really like the bass stuff. I'm proud. I'm proud of it. So, and, you know, Dino's vocals are fucking great. So was everybody. You know, everybody did a great job. So yeah, do check it out, and yeah, see you guys soon, hopefully.
So thank you very much. And I hope to see you with the band here in Spain.
So much.
If you come with other project, I would like to see you again and shake your
Okay.
hand.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks so much. Yeah, I would love to come to Spain. I've never been, so
So, okay, bye. Enjoy
thanks
this
so much.
week.
Have a good one. Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.